This is getting bad. The tap is starting to get low. Steam's furry games are getting less and less, and the ones I haven't played yet are the equivalent of shovelware. I can't stop now, though. I have to keep going. I have to make more reviews. But where? Where can I find more games? Wait. There's one place I can go. When the grocery store is out of food, the only thing left to do is to go out into the wild and hunt. As you guys already know, I've been reviewing furry games on Steam, and honestly, I've been having a good time experiencing decent and sometimes amazing titles on Steam's platform. So many games and genres and even cool ideas and stories have all been shared to me through this little series. But the thing is, the well is starting to run dry. I've already played and have begun writing reviews on a lot of these titles, excluding the ones that are more comparable to shovelware on the Wii, and because of that, coming up with more ideas and things to review hasn't been really easy. But I still want to keep reviewing things and keep this series alive, so as of this point, I only have one more option. I'm going to have to scour the dangerous wild. There's only one place I can go that has these games with anthro characters, and that place is... itch.io is the place we'll be heading to today for our adventure, where minigames come to be posted and a lot of them are the cringiest thing on the planet. It's to be expected though, since the website isn't as difficult to post your games and creations on there as something like Steam or the Nintendo eShop. However, that doesn't mean that Itch is known for only shitty titles. In fact, lots of games and demos get their start here so that many people can get a feel for the title. Then, when they make a following and even some revenue, they can take their game and post it onto Steam or even consoles. This video is mostly here to shed some light on some Itch games or demos that I came across that I feel deserve some spotlight. Of course, there could be some more on the website that I could have missed, and if there is, please let me know in the comments. But for now, I have a few that I honestly saw some huge amounts of promise from. So, let's start this cool adventure off with the first game I played, which goes by the name Atlas. Atlas, created by Kisssoft, is an action RPG with a similar aesthetic to games like Fusion Fall. Yeah, I bet none of you actually know what the fuck that game is. Okay, let me explain. If you don't know what I mean, back during the old days of the mole PCs, many people would partake in a cool little game genre known as MMOs, which were basically online games where you could take care of quests, play with people online, and rack up your internet bill. Ones that come to mind are RuneScape, the World of Warcraft series, and the late Fusion Fall. This game already nails the early MMO style, even allowing you to create and customize your own character, which include your character species, your gender, hairstyle and color, and even your body type. Yes, that also includes how fat your ass is, apparently. And no, to answer your question, it does not clap. At least I don't think it does. Alright, so after we finish creating our character, we're then allowed to look around the area. We start off by doing a bit of a tutorial and... oh my god, the controls feel pretty nice. There isn't any controller support, so you'll only be using keyboard and mouse, but that honestly just brings a feel of nostalgia to how MMOs used to be. Hell, even after finishing the tutorial, you end up appearing in what is essentially a hub world, where you and other people in the game server would hang out and prepare for quests. Speaking of quests, let's go and grab one. Gotta talk to this woman and... anyways, let's head to this place and take a look inside. Oh, looks like there's some enemies in there. So, let's take them out. You know, let's get our hands dirty. Okay, so let's go take out some slimes first, guys. A lot of the missions in the game are basically regarded as filler missions, where you'll take out a certain amount of enemies or find a specific amount of items. And when you do, you'll be rewarded with larger amounts of EXP. Not only that, but these missions can be redone over and over so that you can get EXP faster and more efficiently, thus lowering the grind a little bit. That is something I can appreciate, because when you go into an area where you're underleveled, you really feel it. I'm talking 2-touch deaths here, with a side of launching. Regardless, as you level up, the enemies become more manageable, and you also gain different abilities and are able to put your points to specific stats, adding even more customization to the game. This game is honestly a good time. I enjoyed the way that the battle system worked and how fast it was. Not only that, but there are also moments where you'll have to manage your stamina to dodge, dash, and even block attacks. I'm impressed with how the game flows, and with the possibility of there even being online multiplayer added, this could be an amazing return to form where MMOs are concerned. The only thing that would be important is that if they decide to add a story to the game, to make sure that it's a pretty good one, and that the servers are strong enough to handle a good influx of players. The quests also need to have some variety, that way the player doesn't know what to expect. Hell, maybe even add a PvP mode to create a little something extra for players and friends. Now that would be a cool addition. Take a look at this demo if you want to try it out. Links to the itch.io page will be placed below, as well as a link to the creator's Twitter. You'll enjoy this one. Seriously though, all those moments where I was underleveled and constantly having to time dodges and blocks, the only thing I could think about was how much of a damn Dark Souls-esque type of situation I was in. Like damn, if I wanted to play Dark Souls, I'd play Dark Souls. Or you could also play Sang. Sang the Desert Blade is a 2D sprite-based action game. The story itself is not exactly too touched up upon, which is kind of what happens in almost every Dark Souls, at least until you get further into the game. That's kind of what the allure of the Dark Souls series is all about, so doing the same thing with the 2D Souls-like is understandable. So what about the gameplay? You have the usual shit. Walking, sprinting, dodging, attacking, parrying, which goes into a counterattack, and so on. There are even different spells too, like this one that allows you to light up a dark space. The cool part about it though is that, unlike other games, you have to actually chant the spell, which equates to pressing the arrow keys in a specific order. This adds a bit of tension due to you having to stand still and possibly get bitch slapped during the chant. It's a nice addition. The sprite art in the game is also so fucking gritty and dark and amazing, with multiple set pieces and characters that can make your stomach turn like, hot damn, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Hell, even the boss in the game looks fucking awesome. It's even a battle that can be beaten easily once you understand the dodge and attack windows. The demo ends on a cliffhanger, of course, but it definitely is one that draws people in. One thing that I will say is that a lot of the enemies are kinda simple to kill. In a Souls-like, all enemies are supposed to be fairly evenly grounded, making you fear running into someone. Of course, it could be just that I got used to the enemies quickly, but as long as they make sure that the enemies take skill and practice and precise movements, then this will stand the test of time. Hell, the art design alone makes this one a huge fucking good time that deserves to be played. I hope that the game gets finished so that we can get a deep dive into the world's buried story. I highly suggest giving this game a shot. Well, this one was a pretty good time. I'm impressed. Though I will say that it is missing something. Usually, there's always some kind of waifu in Dark Souls games. Most of the time, they're ones that got magic power, or maybe that's a goddess, or something along those lines.
I don't care what gender you are.
Smash, smash, smash!
Or furry, for what I've seen in the furry art. Now that is what this game really needs. So let's play a game where we use weapons made by a furry waifu! Chang Kabang is a PS1 inspired chaos game that leaves the same taste as the Katamari series in my mouth. Well, except we're blowing up a town with guns. Maybe it's more Grand Theft Auto, I don't know. The story is that we play as the Chang gang, whose clubhouse gets demolished by the town of Bilsmando. So, we make a deal with a weaponsmith named Suki Nips. Okay, I see, if that was the joke, I see. Who creates some weapons for our destructive band of hoverboard riding misfits. And that's the story, which also segues into the gameplay. You play as one of the 3 misfits and you use your own choice of gun, and you blow shit up. The more you destroy shit, the more your gun levels up, which allows you to cause even more damage. However, the more you destroy, the more police officers and cops show up, which can and will kill you. Thing is, there's one thing that can keep them from ever touching you. Your hoverboard. Got on this thing and you'll never get hit. It's as simple as that, like ABC 1, 2, 3. After a while of blowing shit up, a portal will open up, which will allow you to exit and beat the level, where you're greeted by Miss Nip's pole dancing. Yep, it was worth it. As of this point, the game only has one level, with there only being a WIP, or work in progress, area being around for you to go around in. Other than that, there isn't much else to do besides trying out the other characters. Unfortunately, honestly, they don't feel any different to each other besides their stats. Other than that, they all do the same thing. The game has a pretty cool art style, one that harkens back to the early Dreamcast and PS1 days, which I can honestly appreciate. I mean, I am a fan of Jet Set Radio after all. The game also has a fairly fun gameplay loop. But the only problem is that I can already see the gameplay getting stale after a while. In order to keep the game from feeling repetitive, I'd suggest maybe adding mini missions or challenges to each level that the player can go back and take on when they unlock them. Another thing is that the hoverboard feels it's just a little bit broken. Even in Jet Set Radio, where you're on some sort of vehicle, such as the rollerblades, enemies are still a threat. Even when they can't catch up to you, some still have guns, which can knock you out. But the hoverboard is so damn fast that everyone is just left in the dust. Maybe putting the hoverboard on a cooldown or giving it an overheating ailment would balance it out, to make it not so overpowered. Regardless, this game is still fun as hell. I had a good time with it. And anything with a waifu like Suki is obviously a good time. Though I will admit that when I downloaded it at first, the controls did not work until I downloaded an older version, then re-downloaded the current version. So yeah, just be aware of that. Play it, you'll like it. So many titles that demand quick movements and button mashing are starting to drain me though. I think I'm gonna need something a bit more calming to play. Next up, we have the game Under the Bridge, a visual novel dating sim. You play as your own chosen and named character who came back to their hometown after going to college. It's here that you meet and reconnect with your childhood friends, who may or may not be someone that you could actually date. Of course, that all depends on who you hang out with and your decisions. The game has a heavy emphasis on how people slowly change over the years, and how growing up can either bring you to a better place in life, or it could actually bring things that could damage you. We see this in multiple characters, and as you slowly get closer to your chosen friend or potential significant other, deeper things that were held in are dug up. I won't spoil it, of course, since this is the whole draw of a visual novel, but there are definitely some deep situations and things that each character feels or are dealing with as they grow into adults. What I can talk about is the gameplay. It, of course, is a visual novel dating sim, but it does have different mini-games to shake up the monotony, like this one where you're trying to keep Rebecca's client busy to allow her to finish her work. Yes, I did the Rebecca route. Shut! As of this point, the route I did wasn't finished, so it's safe to say that the other routes of the characters aren't finished either. Nonetheless, the characters' stories and interactions with each other are not only interesting, but also grounded in reality, or at least that's what it seems. They did a good job with this game, and I hope to see what will happen in the end. I'd suggest checking this one out. It has pretty good art, good music, and a grounded, realistic story as well. Okay, now then, I think it's time to wrap this up. So, we're gonna take a look at one more game that I've been waiting for since I first saw it on Steam. A mystery title with amazing artwork as well, and trust me, once you see this, you'll want to play it too. Welcome to the game known as Mercury Abby. This is a 2D mystery game with some light platforming in there as well. You play as our boy Herod, a writer who is going through a bit of a slump due to the times and the way that writing and stories are written changing. Unfortunately, more misfortune pops up due to his sister having her son, Willie, stay with him for a while. And to add even more shit to the fan, Miss Lecky, a journalist waifu, ends up giving him 2 tickets to a resort known as Mercury Abby. He, of course, has no choice but to bring Willie along with him. Now, thing is, Mercury Abbey has had some creepy history, and it doesn't help that the way there ends with them being in a dark forest, with the resort actually being an insane asylum that was turned into a resort. And it looks beat down and abandoned, and the one watching the place looks like the most creepiest motherfucker ever. It's a lot. Now, what happens later? We don't know. That's what most of the story is about, or at least what the demo shows off. Now, the gameplay is honestly pretty neat. You have multiple puzzles, multiple people to talk to, and info to obtain, and even some light platforming too. The puzzles aren't super difficult either, mostly just being that you need to find something, or place them in the right spot. It's basically a point-and-click adventure, except you actually control the character by moving them with the analog stick, or keyboard. The artwork and style of the game is so damn good though. Sprite art looks clean, the backgrounds look like a painting with multiple layers, and even the town feels lived in with multiple different NPCs and moving set pieces. Character art also looks high quality too, with each character having their own look that makes sense for their type of character styles. Herod is a wolf, harking to the fact that he not only lives alone, but also that he wants to do things his way and write his own books how he wants to. Miss Lucky is a journalist who sneaks into places in disguise for her job, so she's a fox, showing how sneaky and sly she is. Willie is a small little pup, full of energy and curiosity, as most puppies are known to be. The characters' personalities match with their species, which is a pretty cool use of anthro character designing. Though the main thing I worry about is if the characters ever grow or show more traits than just lonesome wolf, or curious pup, or creepy motherfucking lemur. The game needs to show that the characters have different parts to their personalities, and that they are more than the stereotypical characteristics of their anthro species. As long as they do that and make sure the story is gripping and interesting, then they won't have a problem with enticing players. However, from what I've seen, this game is actually going in an amazing direction. I can't wait to see the full game release, and when it does, I'm sure as hell gonna stream this one. Bet on that. That was just a small taste of the games that are available to try out on itch.io. Knowing how vast many ideas can be, it's safe to say that there are so many other titles and games that could be in their early build stages. From games like Mercury Abby with their spooky and gripping stories, to games like Kabang with their focus on gameplay instead, there are a shit ton of games on there that should have some spotlight. The developers are putting their heart, soul, time, and energy into creating these pieces of art, and to just pass them up just because of where they're located or their development stage, it would be a huge disservice. I implore you, check out these games and check out their Twitters and itch pages, and even their Steam pages if they have any. Not only would you be enjoying something amazing, but you would also be giving these guys support for something that could be seen as a future cult classic. And here I thought itch.io was gonna be a place of cringiness and terror. Glad to see that I was wrong. I mean, it's not like there are any, other games on there that I have to worry about, right? Oh,